Welcome to our training on what I call the teddy bear technique. I call it that for specific reasons I'll elaborate, but it is a methods for encouraging shy students to participate, especially your shy trial students, but it could be transfer students or students that are just getting to know you. Here's why I call it the teddy bear technique, because most of the time parents think they're being helpful by convincing the child that they're going to have to do the swim class no matter what. They're getting in. Don't argue with me. I'm going to shove you in the pool if I have to, etc. And the reality of that strategy is that if the parents are doing that and you just stand back and let the parents try to make their child participate, with our program, that's not even possible, because we're not going to hold their child in the pool if their child's trying to get out and go back to the parent. And so 90% of the time, the parent and child leave frustrated and upset. If you just allow the parent to be convinced, they're going to force their child to participate. Because our program is built around developing an encouraging and nurturing environment, though the very idea that you're going to be able to force a child into it is contrary to that premise. So the teddy bear technique is based around telling the parents, look, we're going to make this a whole lot easier. You don't have to do any of the work. I'll do all the work. You are really going to be basically like a teddy bear or security blanket for the child. You're something familiar they feel safe with. And we're going to put you as close to the pool as we can without you getting in. And you don't have to do any talking or convincing. In fact, just like a teddy bear, and I kind of do the zip your lip thing right to them, and I say, just like a teddy bear, you don't have to say anything at all to your child. And that's the best thing, because the child's already has ways to manipulate their parents, and they're already used to arguing and trying to defy their parents in one way or another. And the parents have already made up their mind that they're on one side of the argument, the child's on the other, and they dig in their trenches, and then one or the other feel like the loser in the battle. And either way, so if the child participates, the child feels like a loser, and that's not what you want. And if the child doesn't participate, the parent feels like the loser. So then they've drawn the lines of battle. And really the best time to apply this technique, or to start applying the technique, is before they get in the fight. So if you see a child looking shy or apprehensive as they come in the building, I try to talk to the host or office person who might guide them down to get in front of those arguments and say, don't worry about it. You can just go in and watch, and you don't have to do anything. Nobody's going to make you get in the pool. So I try to greet them as early as possible and tell them that. Say, you know what? Nobody's going to make you get in the pool. And that really shuts down the parents' idea right away that they're going to make them get in the pool, because you've already said, nobody's going to make you get in the pool. Don't worry about that. And the more mature you can present yourself, it doesn't matter how old you are, it's your confidence in your strategy that counts. That will help the parent buy into it. And you need to, first of all, diffuse the fight if there's one already starting. Some kids will start fighting even just to put their swimsuit on. The parents all drenched with sweat and stress, saying, I can't even get them to put their swimsuit on. Say, that's not even necessary. Parents thinking in their head, how are they going to swim without their swimsuit on? Well, probably they're going to have their swimsuit on when they swim. But in really rare and extreme, I've had one instance where I said, you know what? Let's not even worry about the swimsuit for today. Let's just let your child hang out. And you know what? If he gets in his regular clothes, can he just wear his swimsuit home? Maybe we can do that. Then his swimsuit's dry. He can wear that home, and he just got in his regular shorts eventually and swam around in the pool in his regular clothes. But that was one instance. I'm not suggesting that that's how you have to play it when they don't want to put on their swimsuit. But a majority of the time, you let them come in with their parent. They sit on their parent's lap. Their parent says nothing. You are playing with the other kids. The child sees how much fun it is. You do brief interactions with them in a nutshell. This is how the technique goes. And then the child becomes interested. The parent says, hey, now you want to do it? Yeah, can I do it? All right, let's get your swimsuit on. Yay, they go do it and come back and get in. That's how a lot of times how it goes. Now, there are more details that we're going to share with you about this technique as we go through. So there are a few steps to accomplishing the teddy bear technique, or encouraging shy students to participate. Number one is helping them decrease their anxiety. That's the number one thing to help everybody kind of take it down a notch. The parents feeling anxious that their child won't participate and they really want them to, and also they're feeling like this is our only chance to get them to participate. So as many ways as you can to dissipate that anxiety, the better. A part of that is first tell the child that they're not going to have to participate. We're not going to force them into it. Secondly, to let the parent know, I have an easy way to do this where I can do all the work. It's going to be much easier for you, and the parent's going to feel relieved. Oh, good. Oh, phew. Somebody else has a way to make this work easier than I do. Sometimes they're still very doubtful. Oh, I know my kid. You're just going to have to make him do it. But our program's unique and is very attractive to kids as it is, so it's pretty easy for any child to be watching to want to do it, especially if they're not already upset, if they can get a chance to calm down. Another idea too is to let the parent know, if they don't really try it out today anyway, we can just ask you back for another trial and it won't cost you anything. That way the parent sees that there isn't any pressure on them to make this work today or nothing. And those things can help smooth out the anxiety that both the parent and child are feeling. A good thing to get to as quickly as you can also is to help the parents figure out their level of resolve. Some parents are just not patient, and that's why they want to force their kid into everything. They haven't taken the moment or two it takes to let the child feel familiar with their surroundings and then get involved in something. And so they believe in their mind that they have to make them do it because they've never waited the 5 minutes or 10 minutes it takes to let their child warm up to the idea. Lots of times they're just overscheduled people. Lots of times they're just people who are just, short-fused. And so it's important to help them understand that they can go ahead and decide how long. You can let them know. With this, if we just kind of do this where you sit and wait for them, and you stand nearby and support them, and you can say encouraging things like, wow, that looks fun, and gee, that boy did a good job kicking, or something like that, but try not to push them in or say, oh, now do you want to do it? Now do you want to do it? That only reinforces the child saying no. But if you can let the parent know you're going to do that, then you say, most of the time, if we do it this way, 90% of the time the child will get in by the end of class. The thing is that you maybe want to decide for yourself, this is what you're saying to the parent, you maybe want to decide for yourself, are you willing to wait the entire class even if your child doesn't participate, or do you feel like I can only stick this out 15 minutes, it's going to drive me crazy if they don't get in? Well, let's make up our minds ahead of time, how long are we going to just wait? And then if they don't get in by that time, then you can go ahead and quietly take off and leave, okay? Because it doesn't work to say, oh, we're leaving if you don't get in, and then, oh, we're leaving, and then, oh, no, I want to stay, well, then get in, and that kind of argument doesn't help either. So it's better to tell the parent, wait a specific amount of time. If it's the whole class, hooray. If it's not, then that's the time that if you say you're going to leave, you just leave. You don't make a dilemma out of it or an argument out of it. You just go ahead and go and then come back the next time and try it. Their child's way more likely to see that as their opportunity to watch and look, know that there's an end, that they can leave, and then when they come back the next time, they're going to not be as anxious about what's going to happen. They're not going to feel like, now I'm going to be in another fight with my parent. Those are the reasonings. How much of that you have to share with the parent really depends on how much convincing they need to go along with your idea. Okay? Most of the time you just share the original introduction that I had, where you be a teddy bear, you don't say a whole lot, you sit next to the pool, you let me do all the work. Most parents are like, okay, sounds good to me. And then you roll from there. Now that you've told the child nobody's going to make you get in the pool, you also want to add in, but we're going to save a turn for you so that when you're ready, you can go ahead and get in and take some turns. But if you don't want to, that's not a problem. That's okay. And that gives them permission to watch without feeling like the moment I get in that pool, my mom's going away and then I'm going to be trapped in the pool. I tell the parent, lots of times the kids, after they get in the first time, they want to get back out, and that's okay. It's all right to let them get in and out a few times, because one of their biggest fears is that you're going to go away and then they're going to be trapped in the pool. In other words, won't be allowed back out of the pool. And that fear becomes a reality if that's the way you try to play it. So it's better to not do it that way. It's better to allow the child that comfort of knowing they're not stuck in the pool. They're not stuck in the circumstance. They can get in or out. And when they don't feel stuck, they don't feel caged in, then they relax more and watch more what's happening and look at it as a thing they might want to try. Then you go ahead and conduct the lesson as normally as you can with the students you have. Now, if you don't have students, we'll go over what you do if you don't have any other students except for the new student, because that's a little bit trickier, but it's played similarly to invite the child in. So what you do with the children, the students you have, is you go through classes regular. And remember that the student who's not in the pool is also a participant in your class, but they're just not participating in the same way. So what you want to do is give, let's say you have 2 other children in class. You could have 3 others because the class limit is 4. You give child A a turn. Come on down and have a turn. Yay, look how much fun it is. High five, hooray. You know, it looks fun. It looks, you're cheerful, you're inviting, you don't look threatening. Another child can do it. Then child B takes a turn. Hooray, we did it, good job. And then you go back. And now it's the child C who is the trial student. Now it's trial student's turn. You don't say to the trial student, are you ready now? Because they're not. If they were ready, they'd already be in the pool sitting with you, ready to take a turn. They're not ready. So don't ask them that question. That's sort of obvious that they're not ready. What you do instead is you say something to them that allows them to interact with you in a non-threatening way. Oh, hi up there. How are you? I like the color blue. It's a lot of fun. Or you go up and sit on the edge next to where they are by their parent and you say, oh, hi, I'm going to do some swim kicks. Watch how I go. Ready, set, go. I'm kicking. And you can't see my feet kicking under the table, but they are. And then you say, oh, stop. Wow, I'm such a good listener. Good job, me. Oh, thanks, me. High five, me. And they think that's kind of silly. You're giving yourself a little high five and good job yourself. And then you go, okay, see you later. And then you move. Child A's turn. Child B's turn. Trial's turn again. It's trial's turn again. The next thing you do is the same thing. Oh, I'm going to come up and do my kicks again. Or this is a kickboard. Its color is yellow. I like yellow, but my favorite color is blue. One of these times they're going to share something with you or tell you something. That's when you know they're starting to open up. Okay? That's not the time to then say, oh, are you ready now? They're going to jam back in their shell. An important thing to remember for yourself, and sometimes I even tell this to the parents, you know, you can't get a snail to come out of its shell by poking at it. And most of the time the parents say, oh, okay. And they get what you're saying, that you're not going to get their shy or apprehensive child to open up if you're constantly prodding them to get out there, get out there, get out there. Go do it, go do it, go do it. They're going to clam up in their shell more. Okay? So you really get them out by helping them feel safe. You leave a snail alone, comes out and looks around and then starts moving again. You give it a poke, it's hiding back up. Okay? So the same is true with children that are sensitive to new environments like that. They want to feel safe and they want to feel invited. So your interactions with them have to help reinforce that idea. If you go to sit up next to them and they cower away from you, well, don't do that the next turn. Do something away from them. Oh, I'm going to do my swim arms, and here's my swim arms. Look at how high they can go. My arms can go so high in the sky. Hey, good job, self. Way to go. High five, self. Wow, high five, self. And they see you being a little bit silly, and they're like, that's kind of funny, and that guy's, okay, or that girl. And she seems happy. If you get too worried about whether or not they're going to come in and play with you, and you're, oh, it's okay, and I'll come in. The situation's not dramatic. Don't be dramatic about it. Because if you try to get on their level and empathize with their fear, they're going to feel validated for being afraid. What you want to validate is that they're validated in wanting to feel autonomous. Validate their autonomy. It's all right, man. You can make up your own mind when you come in. I'm not going to force you to do it. You validate their autonomy, and you're validating their person and encouraging them to feel okay with making their own choice. That's what you want to help empathize with. Hey, everybody wants to do their own thing, right? That's okay with me. Then you're validating the right emotion and feeling, which is, well, I kind of want to make up my mind when I go in. I don't want somebody else to make me do it. And then you're going to encourage them to develop that and feel more brave and more secure, and then eventually participate. So that's the process. Student A gets a turn, student B gets a turn, trial student gets a turn. Their turn isn't some forced compliance or some, oh, it's all right, or negotiation. The more you negotiate, the more advantage the child has. That negotiation is just training them to be better at saying no to you. It's better to not do any sort of ask until the child is leaning in. They look interested. They're seeing what you're doing. They're saying stuff to you. They want to give you a high five. You give the other kids a high five, you do something silly. I like to make funny voices, like they get a high five and I go, uh-oh, spaghetti-o. And then the other kid kind of laughs, but I'm paying attention to the kid who gave me the five. So they can laugh without feeling self-conscious about it. If I look over and be like, that was funny, huh? Then they're like, don't look at me. It's better to give them space. It's like ignoring them, but you're not, because you're paying attention to each student when it's their turn. And you give the child student a turn. And their turn is your attention. Some other kind of key things to remember is young kids are closer to primal reflexes and urges and instincts. So if you're smiling at them like this, then you're showing them your teeth. And you go to the zoo and look at a gorilla like this, the gorilla's going to charge at you. That's aggression. And so you don't want to show aggression to the student. So I like to kind of hide my teeth when I'm like, happy face, And you'll notice, you look at most of the Disney characters, when they're making a happy face, there's no teeth. They're not, that's not how a Disney character looks happy. There's no teeth. Why? Because they know they look less threatening, more baby-like, more comfortable, right? In their happiness. Another thing is, too, people will tell you, get down on their level and get close. You ever had somebody right up in your face? It's not comfortable. Don't get that close to students, especially students that don't know you. They don't want to be that close to you. They want you farther away from them, where they feel comfortable and safe with you away from me. And lots of times, if I would have a trainee in person, I'd get right up in their face and say, yeah, how comfortable are you feeling right now? And they're like, I am not feeling comfortable. This is not comfortable with somebody right in my face. It's not. So I encourage you not to stare at the kids and try and make that eye contact. Same thing, go to the zoo, stare at any animal. What's going on? Why is this creature staring at me? It's the same thing with younger kids. They're closer to those primal reflexes and urges. They see your teeth and they worry, what, are they going to eat me or what? Not on a conscious level, but it still affects them in a way that they're trying to figure stuff out by its context. The context of somebody right up in your face staring at you with their teeth showing isn't a comfortable context. So try to help them be comfortable by not doing those sort of things that seem to be the classic way to tell people to get down on the level of your child. Really, the get down on your level, the main advice about that is valid, is that you want to appear non-threatening to the students. So you're not towering over them when you're talking to them. So that's the main point of getting down on their level. So what I would do is interpret that, instead of being down on their level, be below their level. Be somebody who's less threatening to them. Be somebody who they could easily overpower, or at least appear that way. Because then you're going to be the least threatening to them. These are little clues about that. So now back to our techniques. So you've gotten the parents on board. You've told them just relax. You've told them to take it easy, and you're trying to be as non-threatening as possible. You're giving the other students turns so they see how much fun it is. You're including them. That's important. You can't just ignore them and let them feel like they're watching from a glass house outside of what you're doing. They'll never feel connected. So you have to have that point at which they're included. How they're included is just simple, momentary, brief interaction. Okay? When do you get to the point where you ask them to do something? Well, you ask them to do something when you're certain they will. Okay? And until then, you don't. And now, how do you get them to be willing to do stuff with you? Well, one of the ways is you have to find something they like or are attracted to. We have some of our equipment we call diving friends, and they're little characters. You may have to rearrange your lesson plan slightly so that you push those characters, what we call diving friends, forward closer to the front of the class, because it's almost that moment when almost all shy tryouts get in the pool, is when they get to play with those little characters. And so you show them the characters. They're not going to take them from you at first. You just put them nearby and say you can look at those, and you take some to play with your other students, and then you play with them. And then when it gets to be their turn, you take some out and you put them out on the deck, and you how about going for a swim, and you splash them in. Don't ever be like uh-oh, because uh-oh is a bad thing when you drop stuff or spill stuff. You say, whee, whoa, they splashed in. It's a good thing that the diving friend went in there. And then you pick it up, put it right back on the deck. And then they see that, okay? And you say, oh, if you want to, you can look at these guys. You can play with them if you want. And then you go do your turns with the other kids. And it's important if you catch the parent trying to make the child do stuff to say, oh, remember, Mom, you got to be patient and wait. If the child sees that you're encouraging the mom kind of just settle down, or the dad, whoever it is, to kind of just be patient, then they still view you as, wow, even my mom listens to them, and so maybe it's, maybe they're okay. They've even got my mom to be, they're on my side, not on my mom's side kind of a thing, but really you're not on anybody's side. The goal is the same for everyone, that the child wants to be happy and participate. And even the child inside also probably really wants to participate. They're just worried about stuff, and it's not always rational. You can't say, well, what are you worried about, and get a real answer most of the time. Kids will make up stuff just to have an answer to that. So try not to dig too deep into why. The why is because they have a strange feeling about being in a strange place. There's nothing deeper than that there. So trying to figure it out and resolve that is not often productive. The best thing to do is to diffuse, let them get comfortable, let them relax, get in. Okay? So part of that might be changing your lesson plan a little bit and bringing the diving friends up to the front of what you're doing. Another part of that is my secret moment of when I know. Okay, so like they're going to want to put the diving friends in and stuff, and they may put them into there and drop them in the pool, and then you say, well, you can get them out if you want. Well, sometimes they reach over from the side, and they're reaching in, and they might tip over or something, so I kind of helps them, keep them up out of the pool a little bit so they can reach in without getting in, and then they are like, wow, he's helping me, but in a way that's kind of cool because he's not making me get in. And then you can say, well, you can step in here to get them out, that's okay. And sometimes they'll scooch in and step a foot in and get them out, and then they feel a little safer about getting in and out of the pool. But for me, always the moment when I know they're really going to participate is when I say, hey, do you want to give me a high five? And then they give me a high five because they're willing to, touch you, right? And if they're willing to give you a high five, then I know, okay, they're willing to interact with me on sort of a bigger level. And that's when I start to try to ask them to do things, okay? And I start to I really only ask them to do things I'm pretty sure they will. Like if I saw them playing with the toys, I'll do diving friends, and I'll say, hey, which ones do you want to pick out? And then they pick some out. That's me asking them. That might be their first official turn with me, is then I'm asking them to pick out some diving friends. And then those are fun. Hey, they can play here and here, and then that's their turn. And then I go and do the next student's turn, and then I come back and I say, let's see if we can get some to go down here on step 1. Well, they were doing that already, so I know they're going to do it again. Just the fact that they're going to do it after I ask them to is now building that habit. Now they're going to do stuff I'm asking them to do. Well, I'm only really asking them to do stuff I know they're going to do anyway. But that sort of psychological play helps them get in a habit of, he's only asking me to do stuff that's good. I can do this. And then you can do that. And that's the way you sort of lead them into participating more fully each term. So it's important to be genuine. It's important to be sincere. It's important never, ever to trick your students, whether they're shy or not. Don't trick them, because then they don't trust you anymore. And really, the best way to have a child trust you as their swim teacher is to be trustworthy, right? Don't lie to them. Don't trick them. Don't play games where, you give me a high five and then they go to give you a five and you move your hand. Ha ha, you missed. That's not going to get them to trust you. They feel duped, right? Anytime, playing games where you say, ready, set, stop, and then they go and you go, ha ha, I got you, they feel duped. But you can play a similar thing they think's more funny, where you say, ready, set, stop, and then you kick and you go, oh man, you tricked yourself. I tricked myself. And they go, oh man, I went and I said stop, but I still went. Go. And then they think that's funny because you're the butt of the joke, not them. Nobody wants to be the butt of your joke, so that's not funny to them. But it is funny to them if you're the butt of the joke. For some reason, they'll laugh at you for that. But those are the kinds of strategies I use to help the children feel bold and empowered and strengthened. And this especially is encouraging for the shy students to participate. So just to recap over, dissolve the conflict, get everybody to calm down, help the parent determine a set amount of time they're going to be there so they're not getting frustrated or chomping at the bit. Let everyone know what to expect. First we're going to be over here, we're going to do some stuff. Anything you can do by yourself, you can do. I'm never going to make you do anything you don't want to do. That's not my style. I'm not going to do that. And I can help you if you want help doing stuff, but if you want to do stuff by yourself, you can. You just got to stay with our group. That's the big deal. Tell the parents, the best thing you can do is let me do all the talking and you just watch enthusiastically. Be an enthusiastic watcher, be the teddy bear, be the comfort blanket for the child. Tell them it's best to not negotiate. Don't make any negotiations. It's best that you don't negotiate. Let them know that it's okay for the child to get in and out of the pool, and that then if they feel like once the child's participating and they need to move to the bench or move out to the patio to watch from there, tell them they need to inform their child of that. They can't just sneak out. They have to say, "Hon, I'm going to go sit out there." And then the child knows where they are. If you need me, I'll come back in. That's important so that the child never feels tricked into it. If they feel tricked, then you're going to have similar issues the very next time they come in. Now, that's all good. Those are the techniques. Now, if they, after class, if they get in and all that, it's good to tell the parents, we'll do the same thing next week if we need to. Just don't come in and expect them to just jump right in. Instead, expect to do the same thing we did today, and most likely they'll get in sooner. Okay, those are important things to let to go over with them as well. I think we've covered everything in that. If you have any questions, ask your manager. If you need help with a particular student, it's best to bring it up as soon as you realize the situation isn't one that falls within your normal scope of teaching. It's always better to ask questions as early as possible of your mentor, manager, swim director, etc. Thank you for your time and attention, and enjoy your teaching.